Hi! So I'm doing a little bit of a different video today. Recently I've been thinking a lot about careers and how people get to where they are. I think this came as a result of doing my Etsy interviews a few weeks ago. I just found it really fascinating, and I just love hearing about the journey and the mistakes, the challenges, just everything that helps people get to better places in life. I thought I would do the same for myself. I'm going to share my career journey, and I know I've probably touched on a few things, but I thought I'd go into a little bit more detail and let you know a little bit more about me. So first things first, I was a very creative child. I was always drawing, I was writing, I loved making things up, I loved coming up with ideas. At one point I wanted to be a chef just because of food, but then I settled on something a little bit more sensible and I decided that I wanted to be a fashion designer. I would design my collections. I say designing, I would literally just look in the Freeman's catalogue and just draw what was in the catalogue, and that was my collection. I had a careers interview at school and I literally just went in and said, I want to be a fashion designer. She said that I needed to do art and technology A-level, an art foundation, and then a fashion design degree. So I thought, yeah, okay, gonna do that. Meanwhile, I think I had my first bit of work experience, so that was at Elle Girl magazine. So I don't know if you remember it in the UK. It was so creative. I did a week's work experience and it just opened my eyes up to the world of press. Like, I had to write letters for the problem page. Yeah, that was interesting. But I also had to open the post, I had to sort out the fashion cupboard, and I got to go on a shoot. I actually got to be in a shoot. That was my first taste of magazine life, and I thought, yes, fashion, this is what I want to do, fashion. So plodded along, and then it came to me applying for my art foundation. I really wanted to go to Central St Martin's. I'd had my heart set on it. I was obsessed. I became so obsessed and I did so much work. So the interview process was really hard. You had to leave your portfolio on the table and just go off for a few hours and then come back, and they would let you know if you were getting through to the second stage. I think I just popped into Oxford Street with my mum, and I came back, they read some names out, and I think 12 of us went into a room, and I was like, okay, what does this mean? I thought, 12 of us going through, it literally was like X Factor. And they said, you're not gonna progress to the next stage. And I literally I broke down. Like, I was not very good at dealing with my emotions at that point. So I just got really upset. I'm quite single-minded, so I get fixated on an idea. I'm a lot better at dealing with it now, but back then I literally was like, ah! Yeah, I was a mess. And my mum, she took me to KFC. So yeah, that was my first experience of rejection in terms of education and career. Little did I know that that was just going to be the start of many experiences. So eventually I got a place at Camberwell to do my art foundation. It was really cool. It was just great to meet different kinds of people from different backgrounds, and they were living in London, and I was like, oh, I could quite like to move out of home when I go to uni. So I persevered for that year, but planted the seed that I should move away to university. Yeah, I know that London has a lot of great art schools, there's great galleries, there's always something going on in London, but I also wanted the university experience. Yeah, wanted to go a bit crazy. But no, I just wanted to live an independent life. I think through doing my art foundation, so you get to try lots and lots of different disciplines, and then you specialise in one. So I specialised in fashion. I also realised that I liked the textile side of things. So I liked creating my own fabrics and just being in control. I was a bit of a control freak. I really loved screen printing, and I also loved knitting. And I thought, maybe I should do a fashion and textiles degree. So I found a course that would be perfect, and it was at Brighton University. And I thought, yes, this is the perfect course. I need to be on it. I need to move to Brighton. I need to be by the sea. I need to just live that Brighton life. Again, I got obsessed, I got fixated, and I thought, this is the only thing that I'm gonna do. So I went to Brighton, I had my interview, and I think when someone else has a suitcase full of their work and you just have a portfolio, that's when you get a bit worried. Then I didn't get in, and I cried, I had a breakdown. I literally had another breakdown. It was a bit of a tricky time, but I thought, okay, I'm gonna regroup. I didn't have a university option, so I thought I'm just gonna work for a year and save some money. I think I was just reading the paper one day and I found out about my course at Nottingham Trent University, and it was fashion knitwear design. I thought, ooh, maybe this could work for me. The main thing about the course was that it had a placement year. So there was a year in industry. I thought I could get some experience and it could lead to a job. I think if you specialise as well, if you have a bit of a niche, so knitwear is pretty niche, I thought it would just help my job prospects. I prepared my portfolio, went to the interview, and I got in, which was great. Finally, I got into something, and off I went. I started uni, and it was a challenge, dealing with all of the typical uni things like halls. I think I came back to halls one day and the hallway was just covered in baked beans. So that was not okay. My course was quite technical. We had to learn how to use specialist machinery, and it didn't always want to play ball. And towards the end of the year, you just didn't have a social life. You just had to commit to your work. But you know, it gave me this really good work ethic. So in second year, that was preparing us for placement year. We were learning more about the business side of the fashion industry. So, you know, the commercial aspects of it all. I thought, okay, I'm going to do a placement in Hong Kong because one came up and I thought, let me go to Hong Kong. I've been there before, you know, I should go back. So I had an interview. I thought the interview went well. And then a few days later, I find out that I didn't get it. And I had another breakdown. Are you starting to see a theme here? You know, I kind of rationalized it eventually. I had some really cool supportive friends and I applied to another placement in New York. I might have mentioned this in a few videos and on my blog, but I went to New York for 6 months in 2010. I was working at a knitwear manufacturing company, so they supply to some really, really big American high street brands. The hours were quite tough. It was definitely character building. There were some tough times, but then we also just made the most of our weekends. Like, we were in New York, we could do anything, you know. I think the New York song had literally just come out, so we were just like, okay, I'm not going to sing New York. We just made the most of our weekends. We went out, we went to Coney Island, we went to Central Park, we went to the Met Museum. We just thought, it's New York, you know, when am I going to live in New York again? It was one of the best experiences, and my first experience living in a different country and just getting used to those, you know, little slight cultural differences. And people love my accent, which is also good. I think by doing that, it made me think, you know, I obviously started off being a very creative person, thinking that I wanted my own label. But then I kind of thought maybe I should work for a bigger company and learn more, like quite a commercial company. I thought that that was the right thing to do at the time. I thought it was safer, the safe choice. So I came back from New York. So it was tricky because we'd had so much of the commercial know-how drummed into us. And then we had to just let it all go and get the creativity back. But yeah, I worked on my dissertation. I also applied for a job in America and I got flown out for an interview, which was insane. But I didn't get it. So yeah, like you can sort of see there's a running theme. Kind of disrupted me a bit, disrupted my thinking. So I had to produce a final collection as part of my degree. But I kind of just had the worst start because of that rejection and just not being able to focus on the end goal. I was blogging at the time, like blogging was my outlet, but then I just sort of thought, okay, you need to just focus on your collection and get this work done. I was determined to make this 6-piece collection because then it meant that I could be eligible for Graduate Fashion Week in London. The Scouts come to the fashion shows at every single university, so they pick about 15 to 20 students. A lot of people go to Graduate Fashion Week. You know, there's brands, there's students, there's press. It's a great way to get your work noticed. And I just didn't think I would get to Graduate Fashion Week, but something, I don't know what happened, but I managed to produce this collection and then I get the call that I'm going to Graduate Fashion Week and I'm just like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like I did not think this would happen. But I was so happy and I was so proud of myself. It was great to show my collection in London. But then I just didn't know what was going to happen. You spend so much time in the uni environment and it's a little bit of a bubble. It's really weird and you're just thinking about this collection. That's the most important thing. And all of a sudden you're opened up to the real world. So you just realise that your degree is going to finish and you have £10 in your account and you don't know what you're going to do with your life. It was a really weird feeling. But lo and behold, someone from a big high street company had seen my work and I had a job interview lined up about 2 weeks after graduating. I put my all in and I was just like, okay, I need to get this job. I need to get this job. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to get this job. And I got the job. At first, you know, there was so much to take in, I was learning a lot, but I was also blogging as well. So I kind of liked having this thing that was my own, like I had full control. It was a bit like having my own label, but I didn't have to make anything. So I think that doing something creative within a large business structure can be very tricky. And I realised that perhaps, you know, maybe going for the safer career route wasn't for me. I learned lots of things. I picked up, you know, really interesting skills, met some really cool friends. But I was starting to see people make more of blogging and thinking maybe I should, you know, do a bit more. So I had a freelance contract at that job. It came to an end and I booked a flight to Thailand and I thought I'm going to go traveling. I'm going to do the backpacking thing. We have a gap year. It was 6 weeks though. But it was really great, you know, it was great to see another part of the world and just meet people who were doing all kinds of different things. They weren't necessarily doing the traditional career paths. It just opened up my mind to so many different possibilities. And I came back and I actually found out that I was nominated in the Evening Standard Power 1000 as an influential Londoner, which is really, really random. I went to an event But I really didn't believe in myself at that point. I didn't accept the accolade because I was, I thought I wasn't good enough. I think sometimes in life you have these things that you're just not really ready for. And at that time I just didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. It's tricky with something like blogging and being freelance. You do need to have that self-belief. And I think gradually I'm getting there. I've been able to do lots of different things: freelance writing, social media consulting, and working with brands. But obviously I'd love to do more. So it's interesting that after going for a completely safe career path within fashion, I've now just gone for a completely risky freelance strategy. And I just feel like you've got to, you've got one life, you've got to just do what you want to do. So our generation is reinventing careers. People call us the slashy generation. There are people working in graphic design, they're maybe freelancing on the side, they're coming up with lots of different side hustles, and I think that's quite inspiring. So my advice in today's career landscape, I think, is just to accept that everything is a learning experience. So I did a lot of internships, and they're so useful in finding out what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And just never see it as a wasted opportunity, because you never know, like, the people you'll meet or, the things you'll be doing, it might spark something off later down the line. So I definitely don't regret anything, and I accept that it's all a journey. And also just be open-minded and adaptable. So careers are changing, they're evolving, and there may be jobs in 5 years that don't exist today, and you just need to be quite reactive. You can't be complacent. If you have any creative passions, if you want to draw, you want to paint, you want to maybe start something, just go for it. Like, now's the time. So I hope you find this video interesting. I think I'm also going to leave some links to some really interesting articles that I've been reading about, careers, millennials, and hopefully they may help any of you who are going through a bit of a career crisis. Let me know what you're up to. Like, maybe you've had some interesting career experiences. Have you been rejected loads of times? Like, join the club. So in the meantime, you can follow me on Snapchat. I'm Fashionista, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I've got a blog, OVS. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!